Several things I think were the attraction, primarily about this this series was the relationship between the two and its complexity and how layered it was, and certainly a concept and a premise that I'd never seen before. That was the attraction as to when we meet them in the first episode, where we meet them, this sort of arranged marriage they've been living and fulfilling a mandate of being a, cooperative sleeper cell unit, then suddenly finding real feelings for each other and the other conflicts within that. It's a sort of, it's going to be a hell of a roller coaster ride for them. Even before you sort of get into the sort of the more personal aspects of the two, you're set up with this premise that your two main protagonists even are KGB operatives, for an American audience. So already you go in with the table slightly turned, and yeah, as you say, they are in conflict within each other and also developing feelings for each other. So yeah, as to where they'll go or how they'll go, that's I think the part of the beauty of it. It's going to be difficult, to say the least. Yes, I think what 24 and Homeland did beautifully was sort of set up these very powerful dramas about the enemy among us, which we sort of follow the same track in a way. And yeah, as you say, it'll do two things. It'll introduce a new generation, or hopefully more than one, to the Cold War, and certainly remind those of us who remember it what a sort of powder keg of slice of history it was. And I think that's why it holds a certain potency, because as the sort of missile crisis was for Kennedy, the sort of the very early 80s for Reagan, had the same sort of bearing. It was an incredibly potentially dangerous time. It's all your muscles in the playground at one time. If you were to sit down and try and concoct a drama whereby you get to do everything from martial arts, different disguises, different characters, an incredibly complex and multi-layered relationship at its core, the sort of swing of absolute domesticity with an incredibly heightened life or death situation at its antithesis, you get to do everything, and usually within 48 minutes, 42 minutes, whatever it is. I think with one deft kick, Keri Russell literally pays end to the America's sweetheart version of how this nation holds her. In the same way that I'm sure the sort of KGB would have recruited someone like her to be an operative, so that there's a certain non-threatening persona to her. I think FX did the same thing in casting her, which I think was incredibly brave, incredibly ingenious of them. And given the history that comes with her and the type of person she is, you sort of turn that on its head and give her the part that she is now playing so brilliantly. Perfect. In a way, we're incredibly lucky in that when we do meet them for the first time, they're pioneering for the first time within this new relationship, although they've been married for 14 years, and they're discovering, what it is they feel for each other, and where the parameters lie, and all the rest of it. So in that respect, it's an incredibly unique situation, whereby you have all this history, but you're meeting for the first time. So as two sort of actors coming together for the first time, that's a real luxury you don't always get. I think it does. It does in many ways sort of comment or provoke question about what it is to be American. I think universally it does the same also. That patriotism and that sort of love of country and the age-old sort of, not necessarily capitalist communist divide, but the intricacies that lie within. Is sort of never more relevant than the sort of fiscal challenges of the US today. I think elements of that are brought up in the show where Philip, is falling for the trappings of capitalism, materialism, and Elizabeth reminds him that it's the devil's work. This is what I think is the beauty of this setup, is that immediately you're asked, or you are questioning, does she or doesn't she? What is she doing? What's her prerogative? What's she trying to get out of this? I do think Philip's feelings are put on the line a little, and his heart's on his sleeve a little clearer than she's. But that, no better device than to keep an audience guessing as to what is going on with her. What we'll see over the season is this sleeper cell unit that have been doing fine up until now, until the onset of real emotions, and also coupled with the fact there is Philip drops a bomb early on and says, you know what, for very valid reasons I'd like to defect. Therefore sets the time bomb ticking. So they're on, it's going to get incredible. It's much harder before it gets any easier.